Robert Rivas Radio, Tejano, and much more.
Robert Rivas Radio, Tejano, and much more. And at this time, I'd like to welcome the leader of the band, Tierra+Rudy's very own Rudy Salas of Tierra. Rudy, welcome to Robert Rivas Radio.
Hey, thank you, Robert. It's great to be on. Great to talk to you, man.
How you doing, amigo?
Doing great, man. Just been, the band has been working a lot, doing a lot of things, but January we had a little break in January, and then all of a sudden it starts getting really busy after January and February.
I think everything slows down with that, Rudy, during the holidays and stuff like that.
Exactly, yeah. After the holidays and everything, people are a little tapped out, and so we take a little vacation there. We use it to do things in the studio and stuff like that, and just get ready for the next month, which is always really, really busy.
That's awesome. Rudy, I had the privilege of meeting you a couple of years ago when you and the guys from Tierra came down to San Antonio for the Love Jams concert, and I was backstage out there mingling around, and I not only got to see you guys perform, but I got to meet the boys in the band along with yourself. You guys are simply awesome, amigo.
Well, thank you, Robert. I appreciate it, man. We do the Love Jams we do about 6 or 7 a year, and in fact we're doing the what do you call it, the Valentine's Love Jams that are coming up pretty soon too, and up in Phoenix, Arizona, and San Diego, and but it was great doing the one in San Antonio. The first time we've been able to do that show in San Antonio. It was great. And it was nice meeting you, man. It was cool meeting you there, so we had a great time.
That's awesome, Rudy. If you get the Rudy, what do I do, man? I go and screw it up when I meet you and get after you and go, Rudy, how come you guys don't come down here more often, man? I get after you right away.
That's legitimate, man, because I'll tell you, we don't get out there enough, even in my own opinion. I think we should be doing some more things. Actually, we're going to be doing something out there in April, and so we're doing the festival over there at the marketplace. I believe it's some kind of fiesta that they have in there, so we'll be out there.
Rudy, now let me ask you, you performing here in San Antonio, April, if it's going to be fiesta, is it going to be at Market Square or maybe Tejano Explosion or something? Can you remember?
I think it's the Market Square, and pretty sure it's April.
Oh my God,
double checking, man. Yeah, that's going to be it's supposed to be a pretty big fiesta out there. So, I love San Antonio, man. I remember the days before when we used to work out there a lot, and I used to love going out there, to the river, and it was in fact that I had at one point that almost decided to kind of to move out that way, for a while, but being in the music business, you got to stick around where most of the music that we do comes from. So I had to stay out here, but I love San Antonio. It's a great town, man. Great city.
It really is. It's a party town, dude. I've always said, man, San Antonio is a kind of a party town, Rudy, where when they drain the river, they throw a parade.
Huh? Is that right?
They drain the river. Let's throw a parade. Let's do it.
That's right, man. I love the people there, man. They're great, man. We had so many parties out there in the old days, man. It was great. So we're looking forward to going back. We really are.
Rudy, if you guys are going to be performing at Market Square the way, if you're describing it to me during Fiesta's monstrous here. I'm simply monstrous.
Yeah, we're going to be doing that. Exactly.
Rudy, that's a free event, and even as it is, there's thousands of people. Y con más ganas. You guys coming from East LA to perform? Oh, my God, man. It's going to be incredible, man. I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Well, like I said, this is something that we're really looking forward to. It's April 22nd, and that's the day that we're playing. So, we want to invite everybody out there because we got a lot of people, a lot of friends, a lot of fans, some familia out there, and so we can't wait to get out there. So that'll be April 22nd.
Awesome. Now, Rudy, let's go back. Let's go back in time here a little bit. Let's talk about how everything got started with this band, this simply awesome band, Tierra. How did it get put together?
Well, actually, what it was is my family and I, we were involved with the whole Chicano movement out here in Los Angeles, and decided I wanted to kind of start a group that reflected on the whole social thing about the Chicano and what was going on back then. And I wrote a song called Tierra. It was an instrumental thing, but when I wrote the song, I decided to try to, kind of start a band around it. And when I did, I got my brother in. He was actually the first person brought into the band, and we had some rehearsals. We got together with different guys that we done the local circuit with, and it just sounded so great, so good. And but the sound was a little bit real earthy and down to earth. So I figured I'll use the name Tierra, which is earth, land, and then it reflected also what was going on in terms of the whole climate in the Chicano movement back then. So that's when we started the band, and at the time we were a whole different type of a group. It wasn't a real commercial band. We were doing a lot of stuff that had to do with what was going on in the community, Chicano community, and a lot of the things that were happening within within the whole in the whole country in terms of Latinos and Chicanos, and but as we went along, we started getting into the club circuit, and we started changing our sound a little bit and getting into more of a kind of commercial R&B and between R&B and Latin, and a little bit throwing a little bit of everything in there. So that became the sound of the band.
Were you tied in with any other bands before Tierra? Any main bands, or just, where did you get started with the bands, Rudy?
Yeah, my brother and I had actually originally we had our own group. We had another group called Maya back before, but we got asked to do El Chicano, which was at the time they were called the VIPs, and they recorded the song Viva Tirado, and they did an album that was called Celebration, and they asked us to help on that album. So we both went in there and we did some stuff with the group. Recorded part of the album. My brother did the lead vocal on Brown Eyed Girl, which was one of their hits, and I did some guitar work and stuff, and did some background vocals and stuff, and through that experience, that's when I decided wanted to start our own group, another band. So that's when from that experience it gave me the idea of starting the band Tierra.
How many musicians are in your band, Rudy?
We have 9 musicians altogether. Yeah, there used to be 8 before, but now we added another, so there's 9 musicians in the band.
That's got to be tough, man. That's got to be tough to, in other words, hey, man, you got 9 musicians in the band, and if you're traveling or even at the gig and making sure everybody gets there and everybody's dressed with dress and
yeah, I got to tell you, man, it's people don't realize that the music business is a tough business, and that's the whole reason I wanted to kind of clear the record a little bit. I know that you had an interview with my brother Steve, and my brother he did a fantastic job for us on the City Nights album together, and some of the other recordings, and I really appreciate that. He did a great job. He's my brother. I love him so much, But I wanted to clear the record a little bit because basically it was kind of implied that, that we had a falling out because of the fact that creative differences or something, and that I didn't want him to, that we kind of broke up because I threw him out of the band, and that's not completely true. What it is that because this music business is really kind of, real tough. Once, people think that once you get a record deal that your troubles are all over, but it's actually the opposite. As anybody any leader of the band or anything realizes, when you get a record deal, it's only the beginning of all your problems, because you get a lot of people that you become a target, and you become a situation, everybody wants a piece of you, of the band. So you have to structure things a certain way to kind of protect yourself, And we had a structure that I needed to keep the band, just to survive this record business, because you have promoters, you unscrupulous people like promoters, you know, agents, lawyers, and everybody. You know, they all come at you. You know,
Sure.
and so I needed to have this kind of structure to keep going. And unfortunately, my brother and I, you know, we've had, you know, our differences about things, and he didn't want to work within the structure. And I asked him about it, and he decided no, he didn't want to do it. So he made a decision. I mean, I had to give him an ultimatum, you know, that listen, you either work within the structure, or, you know, you're wasting your time, you're wasting my time, and, you know, let's try to work together. Well, he made a decision that no, he couldn't work within the structure, so he left the band at the time. So, you know, since then, actually, the last time my brother was the lead singer, the sole lead singer of the band, was about 20-something years ago. But he has come in and done things with us, and it's been good. But I've actually had like 3 or 4 different singers, the lead singers in the band, and you know, Tierra has, you know, we'll be celebrating 44 years in September of existence of band, you know.
Congratulations. Congratulations on that, Rudy.
Thank you so much for that. And so, you know, we're a survivor, and we've been going, and we've done several recordings, several CDs and albums, CDs, you know, throughout our career, and we're still going strong. The band is stronger than ever, and you know, like I said, my brother and I you know, we've had our issues, but we're working it out, and we've always worked it out. And he'll come in and do some things with us every once in a while. One of the reasons too, you know, we're getting a little up there on age. And so, you know, he kind of has a hard time handling to do a full set, and I understand that. And so now, you know, he'll come in and he'll do like I'll bring him in like halfway through the set and have him do a few songs and some of the hits and stuff like that. And it works out, you know. So that's what I want to keep doing, and it works out really good for all of us, you know.
Rudy, let me ask you this question. Was it a hard decision to say, well, you know what, then this is not going to work out and we need to part ways? Was this something to where you said, well, you know what, maybe if I try to, you know, finagle this here, a little bit here, finagle it a little bit here on the game plan, but we can keep you here. Was there any kind of adjustments you could have made to try to keep Steve with the band?
Well, again, wasn't necessarily my decision to break up. It was my decision to give him that ultimatum, because, you know, the way things were going, there was too many problems, and we couldn't work it out. And I got to tell you, Robert, it was the hardest decision of my life when he finally, you know, when we finally had to make that decision between us. And but I always knew that my brother and I would always end up working together. I felt that it was more important for us to be brothers than it was to work together. And if we can keep that relationship, however we are able to work it out, that would be the best thing. And you know, I think we have been able to work it out, and you know, it's worked out okay. Unfortunately, it's not like it was at the very beginning, but, you know, we're still working together. Not on a regular basis, but when we can, you know.
Do you think it's safer to keep it like this, that way? Because maybe, you know, if it were to go back to a full-time thing like it was in the beginning, do you think things might get ugly again?
Yep. I think it's that's a good word. It's safer, because you know, if we kept doing what we were doing, you know, it would get I hate to use the word chingazos, man, but that would be the whole thing. You know, there'd be so many problems. You know, and I don't mean physically, but, you know, just you know, just a lot of problems. So you know, I think it's a lot better this way, and you know, we're able to still work with each other. You know. And,
when I was interviewing Steve, when I was interviewing him, I asked him, because I looked up some information about you guys. and it was unreal. Some of the stuff that I pulled up, where on one event, there were two bands, two tierras that were supposed to perform at one venue, and I heard it got to be a really big dilemma. I mean,
that was one of the darkest parts of our whole career back then, when he decided to start his own group, and it became a real problem, and not only a problem, but people did not take the name seriously anymore. People saying, "Oh, well, there's two bands, two get us." And, that has happened to a lot of groups throughout the years. Groups that have people have parted, and both claim claim the name and the whole thing, and then other people have used the name for other things that. But when we finally realized that this wasn't going to work, we worked out a deal, my brother and I, and now we're this is the deal that we worked out. We're implementing that now. We've been working that out. So I have the group, the band, own the name. My brother has entitlements to the group, and I work all that out with him. So everything is fine as far as that goes.
Rudy, is there any chance that if not now, later on? I know we're all getting old, man. Does it come even more so? I'm kind of nudging you a little bit. Even both of y'all. I told Steve the same thing. Anywhere in the world that you guys can just bury the hatchet, man, and say, un abrazo, and go, you know what? Let's move forward together, man. Any way this can happen.
Absolutely, and we do that. And my brother has come in and done things with us, and come in and made his appearances with the band. And I think it works for him because he does that with other bands. He'll come in and he'll do 3 or 4 tunes or that kind of thing, and makes his appearances, and that's something that works for both. I think for both of us. He'll come in and he'll do with us. Of course, he does a little bit longer with us, and it works out great because he was an integral part of the band. So as far as coming in back into the, working out him coming in back into the band and just being part of the band again, I don't think it's going to work for either one of us. And I think my brother agrees with that. It just will not work. But to come in and make appearances with the band, that seems to be the best thing for us.
We were talking about how many band members you have, and I've always said, Rudy, I don't know how much you know about me, but I've worked with EMI Latin, so I've worked with many artists, not only promoting them, but working with them, managing them, et cetera, et cetera. And one thing for sure, the more band members you have, the more opinions that you get on a lot of decisions that the leader of the band gets. And I interviewed a Tejano singer here in San Antonio about 6 months ago, and I brought up the situation with him, and he said something that really it makes a lot of sense. He said, no doubt, Robert, he told me, a lot of band members, they have their opinions. They want to bring in, I would have done it this way, I would have done it that way, and he tells me, but I tell him, well, when you get your own band, you can do it however you want.
and there's a lot of truth to that, and it's not really because of an ego thing or a power thing or anything like that. But again, like I mentioned earlier, when you have a band and this scope in the industry, people there's so many people that are trying to get at you in terms of as far as professionally, that you have to put. You have to have a structure, and there has to be one person that makes all the final decisions, and that's what I have to do. And I've been doing it for 44 years, going on 44 years already, and every contract that's ever been signed has been my signature. I've produced every album, and I'm not saying this to say to pat myself on the back or anything like that. It's just a reality. It's a fact that I've kept this band going for going on 44 years, and I that's a record that I am proud of, and I want to do it for many more years, as many as I can at my age, and I want to keep the legacy of the band, including my brother's legacy, And I want to keep that as clear as possible, you know.
I cannot tell you, Rudy, that how many people I've told that, you know, and at our age, as we're getting older and older, all the bands that we grew up to listening, a lot of the lead singers, a lot of the main musicians in the band pass away, and whoever you're able nowadays to make, whenever you're able to go see a band with the original singer or as many of the original band members as possible, I always just to give them the advice and say, go see them, because you never know if they're never going to come back again or not. And I really think that your band Tierra falls into that category, especially with Steve Salas. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And that's why we want to keep the working relationship and have him come in with us as much as possible, you know, and love to do it. You know, it's just, you know, just so you know, you mentioned something about that we get at our age and then we start losing people, this and that. You know, in the last 5 years, I've lost 5 members of the band, and I've lost actually had 5 members pass away, but I've also had 2 or 3 other members that have gone down in terms of health reasons and stuff like that, and had to leave the band. So you know, it takes its toll. It really does take its toll on you throughout the years, but we're still going, man. We're going strong. The band sounds as great as ever. And no, I hear exactly what you're saying, and definitely, you know, we're. I'll give you an example too. There, you know, there's other groups like group Tower of Power. You know, Rick Stevens was the lead singer on "You're Still a Young Man," and actually, you know, he no longer is with the band anymore. He had his problems. He did some time and stuff, and there were a couple of singers, but the band Tower of Power is still going strong, you know, and they've had different members and stuff, but they're still going strong. You know, I plan to keep this band, the legacy of this band, going as long as we can, you know, and I do want my brother's involvement in it very much so.
And that's simply awesome, Rudy. Really, I'll tell you what, let's move forward here, man. Let's move forward. Now, it's the one thing I want to compliment you on is you guys are very stylish. I love your look on stage. You got an awesome stage appearance, man. Has it always been that way?
Well, we've always, you know, try to maintain a certain type of standard as far as, you know, as a musicianship and as a visual as much as possible. You know, I've always wanted to keep, for instance, the whole zoot suit look. You know, we always have one guy that's there wearing a zoot suit and doing the whole thing. Because one of our songs was Zoot Suit Boogie, and a song that I wrote, and we try to keep that image. And then, you know, as far as, you know, what we do on stage, we try to have, basically we have a party. We invite the audience to join us, and we try to keep the energy high and try to keep, you know, keep the whole show going, but the whole party going, you know. So that's something that it's just a philosophy that we have as far as our performances and stuff.
You know, Rudy, I mean, I don't know how long you guys performed when I saw you perform here, man, but maybe it was 20 minutes, maybe 25.
Yeah.
But I said, no, that was too short, man.
Right. You know, that's the whole
more,
thing.
Man.
But I guarantee you, when we do the fiesta, we're going to do a full set, you know. The problem on those love jams are you have so many artists on there. There's, Jesus, there must have been about at least 10 artists that were on that show. And, you know, so they have to work it out within the time that's allotted. And that's the whole reason we were only able to do I think we actually did about 30 minutes. And, and people, you know, they're not satisfied. They want more, and that's great. You know, unless you did a bad show, then yeah. But you know, if people like what you're doing, then you know they're not going to be satisfied with that, and that's the only problem with that. But again, you know, we will be doing a full show when we go back to San Antonio, and I like to, you know, bro, I like to go out there a lot more often, and I hope we can. You know.
Out of curiosity, you know, I didn't think about this, so just right now, Rudy, una pregunta también. Now, that night when you guys performed, Malo came on like about 2/3 throughout, you know, about not halfway, a little bit past halfway through the show, You guys closed out the night. Was there any reason for this? Is there any, like, you know, hey, man, wait a minute, we're going to close. No, we're going to close. Is there any disputes or anything like that?
There are disputes sometimes, you know, but I tell you, we don't care what time we play. We leave it to the audience to decide, you know, if they like the group performing at that time or not, you know. You know, we do our show. We don't worry about, you know, what time we're put on, unless it's something, you know, done real early when if people are still walking in or whatever, you know. But basically, we just do our show and we let the audience decide that, you know. And you know, it works out really good for us. As far as that show over there, you know, there have been times where Malos played the last set. There have been times we switched back and forth, so it works out. And you know, all the bands, we all get along, and you know, we bond with each other, and it's great. There's a lot of camaraderie, man. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. So let me ask you this, Rudy. Would you say you've got some pretty good relationships there in California with, like, El Chicano, Santana, War, Rocky Padilla, et cetera, et cetera?
Absolutely. We work with all of them. In fact, you mentioned Rocky Padilla. I work with Rocky. I have a kind of a separate thing that I do on the side. We do a little all-star band, and I bring in Rocky and, you know, guys from War, guys from El Chicano, guys from some of the guys from, I bring in a couple of guys from Malo, and of course the guys from Tierra, and we do this little all-star thing every once in a while, you know, when the band's not working. And it works out really good, and we have a great relationship with all the guys. We work a lot with War. We work a lot with El Chicano, with Malo, and you know, we have the thing that's called Latin Legends Live. We did an album. We did a CD back in the late '90s, and which sold very well. Did really good for us, and all the bands we work great with them, you know, and we have a good time, you know.
You know, Rudy, it is unreal. It is unreal that any kind of oldies, CD, thump, old school, Chicano, East LA, golden oldies, Aztec love songs, we can go Low Rider, whatever, anything on the old school, you're going to find music by Tierra, dude. It's unreal, right, man. Simply awesome, right, dude.
Well, we went through the era, man, and we were part of that whole era, the old school, and that's what we do, bro, you know, and you know, people seem to love it, and we appreciate that. We have high regard for our audiences, and I put a lot of emphasis on that, you know, and that's why, you know, we're here to entertain. That's the main thing. I mean, you know, there are a lot of musicians that go out there and and they're a little self-indulgent. They play what they want to play and don't worry about the audience, but that's not what Tierra does. Tierra goes out there to please our audiences, and we love our audiences. And when they give us an encore, we don't look at it as going up there and doing something for them. It's the other way around. That when the audience gives us a standing ovation or something like that, that's something they give to us, and that's something that we really appreciate, and we do whatever we can to please them.
I can only imagine the feeling that you went through when you released a song together, which was your mega hit, amigo. I mean, what was your reaction? What was your feeling like to say, you know, man, you know, there we go now, you know, my first big monster hit, man. What was the feeling like?
Oh, it was it was the biggest, it was the greatest high in the world, man. You know, you can't get that feeling from anything else, man. It was great. You know, I remember. We're over here working at a local nightclub, and all of a sudden we listen to the radio, and boom, it's on the radio, and we're saying, what the heck is going on here, man? You know, and then all of a sudden we're on tour. The next thing you know, we're on American Bandstand, coming from a little place called the Rudy Salas House in East LA, and within a couple of weeks we're playing American Bandstand. You know, so. It was unreal. It was like a dream come true, but almost, you know, you couldn't believe it. You know, everything started happening, and then all of a sudden we were on tour with the Commodores and doing about 35 cities here and there, and you know, our whole life just completely changed at that point. You know, and it's such a great feeling, hearing your songs up in Alabama somewhere, and hearing your songs on the radio over there, and then going to New York and going to Carnegie Hall. I mean, what a rush! It's just great. I mean, when we went to Carnegie Hall, my parents went, and the people gave us a standing ovation, and my mom was crying, and it's like a bad B movie, but it's something that I'll never forget for the rest of my life,
Rudy, I pride myself in my music. I'm 55 years old. I grew up, hearing my brother's music. He was 10 years older than I was. He passed away 4 years ago. God rest his soul. Yeah. And I got to tell you, he had all this Latin Chicano album, man, the East LA sound. And now that being said, like I said, I pride myself in my music collection. Because I got a monster music collection, and I'm always trying to get, I don't have that one, so I'll get that one. Siempre me falta algo. I always need something else.
Yeah.
4 years ago, Rudy, 4 years ago, I'm going to say about a month after my brother passed away, I stumbled across a song by you guys. I stumbled across the song, and when I heard it, it blew me away, and I said, why have I never heard this song? And I'm talking about the Oldies medley.
Oh, the old song. It was called the Old Songs, right?
Right. I mean, Rudy, that is just simply unreal, man. Who put that together?
I wrote the old songs. The old songs. I wrote that, but then if you remember, within that, then we go into some oldies here and there. Some regular standard oldies. But the old songs itself, that's something that I wrote back in the days, man. I can't even remember the year, but I did write that. But
you know what, Rudy? It blends in perfectly with everything else, man.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
It just blends in, man, beautifully, man.
Right. And to answer your question on why it didn't get out there and why you didn't hear it is that's something that has nothing to do with the band. It has to do with record company politics and things that go on that are beyond the band's control. And there's some, as long as we could go out there and play the songs and please our audiences, and that's what's important to us. I mean, we wish that all of our music could get out there, but unfortunately, a lot of people, people have said that certain songs that they've heard on the albums, they have never heard it on the radio, and why couldn't we get it on the radio? It's, the record business has changed a lot, bro. It's a whole different animal now than it used to be. Before you can go out there and you can get airplay on all the commercial stations and everything, but now everything has turned corporate now, and everything they have their list of what artists to play, and that kind of thing. And so, we don't get the kind of airplay that we used to get, but thank God for radio stations like yours and all the radio stations throughout the the Southwest and different parts of the country, and that still play our music, and we really appreciate that. That's something that we live for, man. We work for.
And even social media, social media. But you know what, Rudy? The music business, believe me, I've been a part of it for a long time, man. The music business is it's a very ugly business, man. The behind the scenes, believe me, I know it can be an ugly business, and it's unfortunate.
That's the point I was trying to make at the beginning of this whole conversation. Yeah,
I'll say it, Rudy.
It could be brutal, like you say. It could be brutal. And if you have a band out there, and if you don't have a certain structure to try to keep things in order, man, you'll be gone in no time. And that's something that I at least can say that we've survived it, and I attribute that to we have a very loyal following of people all over the country and all of different parts of the world too, and that's what keeps us going,
I had somebody quote the music business. The person said the music business, something so ugly that can come out of something so beautiful.
That's true.
Isn't that something?
That's a great.
Isn't that something? Yeah. That's what I said too, and he hit the nail on the head, and that's very, very true.
Yeah. Now, I don't want to completely knock the music business, because some great things have come out of the music business, but it's just sometimes, sometimes we run certain people that are involved in the business make it really hard for the artists to get their music out there, and but if you're able to survive it, and if you're honest with your music and just in general with your on personal, if you're honest about what you're doing, you'll survive. You'll get through it.
Well, like I said, you've got some hits under your belt. I mean, you guys are very, very popular, Rudy, and you survived decades in the music business. There's been bands that haven't survived minutes in the music business. Yeah. You guys have survived decades, and I mean decades in the music business, and you guys sound better than ever, Rudy. And mind you, and y'all are headed to San Antonio real soon here, right now?
Yep. We were. I'm sorry. What did you say? I didn't hear the last part.
And y'all are headed to San Antonio here in April, right? April 22nd.
April 22nd, we'll be there at the Fiesta and the marketplace there. So, and then I believe they're talking about having us do. It's the jazz festival out there. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but it's some kind of jazz festival that they do every year in San Antonio also. So we'll be doing. I think that's in September. So yes, maybe you can look out for that too. So we're supposed to be doing that too.
Rudy, any last words for your fans?
Well, I just want to, from the bottom of my heart, thank all the fans and the people that have been out there and supported us all these years. And Robert, I want to thank you for doing this, because you've had a major hand in keeping our music going, and not only ours when I say Tierra, but all the music that's been out there with the groups like we mentioned, El Chicano, Malo, all these bands that have been out there, and you guys have kept it out there. And I really, I really take my hat off to you, and thank you so much for being there. Thank God you guys are there for us,
I appreciate that, Rudy. I really do. And like I said, what I do now, with the radio station, it's a 2-for-1. I do it out of a hobby, but also because I love the music, and a lot of the music that I play, at least on my Cruising Classic show, I can't tell you how many people, Rudy, they tell me, a lot of people don't play what you're playing, dude. A lot of people don't play what you're playing, Yeah.
No, that's true. No, that's so true. I mean, you guys are keeping the music out there and for the people to hear. If it wasn't for people like yourself, people would not have that. Now, we had a station out here that was, that was playing all the old school music, every song you could think of, and unfortunately, they decided to change the whole. The different management came in and they changed the whole format, and they don't realize that they are not only hurting just certain listeners, but they're hurting a whole community of people that want to hear this music, that grew up with this music, that, this music is almost like a backdrop of their lives, and people don't realize how important that is,
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So you guys have kept it going, and I really appreciate that, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Rudy Salas, Tierra, thank you for being part of Robert Rivas Radio.
It's my pleasure, Robert. Thank you, man.